Welcome to another day of Freedom with Story. And joining me today, I'm super excited to have two amazing humans. They're a little bit younger than me, just a little bit, just by a few years. But I want to introduce you to my niece Samantha and my nephew Jacob.
Oh,
And I wanted to bring them into a conversation today because here's the thing. Too often we think that our stories are just ours, that our experiences and what happens to us or the lessons are just for us, or that there's just something that we are supposed to learn in the moment. And the truth is that your stories and your experiences are not just yours. Your story actually belongs to the people that are closest to you and the people that God, universe, creation has designed for you to impact and to touch. And one of the things that I have realized along my journey, so March 1st, 2020 was the day that I came out publicly to the world. And here's the thing. So back in a long time ago, there was about 6.5 years of my life that I was really lost and was making decisions that were putting me in my life and my health and my safety and just my entire livelihood, putting it at risk. And I was choosing to live in chaos and to create more chaos in my life. And for the longest time, I wouldn't tell that story. I wouldn't talk about not the necessarily the chaos, but the hurt and the frustration. And really, the reason why I had created so much chaos in my life was because I wasn't happy with me. I wasn't loving myself. I wasn't appreciating myself. I wasn't. I wasn't being my true, authentic self. I was living in shame. I was living in guilt. I was managing other people's insecurities. Would they accept me? Are they going to like my story? Are they going to accept me if I come out as gay publicly? Now, those that knew me knew. I never tried to hide it. Now, these kids, I've known them since they were born. Like they popped out and bam, there they are. I caught them in my hands. No, I didn't really catch them in my hands, but they grew up with me. And yet, even in my own household, although I never said anything to them or they never asked questions, my attitude was always if they ask, I'll tell them. But I never felt like I needed to, like, I knew that they loved me. I knew that there was love, but I never necessarily understood the power of telling my story to them. So when I decided to tell my story publicly and come out as gay, it was actually Tiffany Largy who was the one who said, listen, if I'm going to be your coach, you have to come out and you have to do it publicly and you have to do it on Facebook or on video. And she said, you need to do it right now. Now I said, hold up, I need to do a couple things. Like I really wanted to have a conversation with them because they follow me on social media as well as their friends and people that they know. And I wanted them to hear it directly from me versus watching it online and being like, wait a minute. So I knew that I wanted to have a conversation with them at first. And here's what happened. The day that I came back from a trip to Texas, I sat them down and I said, hey, there's something that I need to tell you. And I don't exactly remember how I said it, but I just, we were sitting right outside. Yeah. Yep. And I said, there's something that I want to tell you. And I want you to, I'm telling you this, one, because I love you and because I trust you and because I want you guys to hear from me first. And it was the moment that I began to take ownership of my story. And I told them that I was gay. And although I knew that they weren't necessarily going to have like a, oh my God, everybody on the count of three, ready? 1, 2, 3. It wasn't going to be like that. But I knew that we had never talked about it. Like, and I'm sure they probably had their own suspicions and their own ideas and why, yep, right there, yep. And why is Uncle never bring anybody over? Why do we never see him dating? Why, like all of the things that we think people don't see or pick up on, they're already picking up on. Case in point, they are picking up on my story. Type that inside of the chat. They're picking up
on your story.
They're picking up on my story. That's it. Thank you. See, that's why I have them. And so and other people that are watching you that are looking at you, they know some of the things that you try to hide or you tried to keep secret. They know part of your story. They don't know all of it, but they know that something's not right. They know that you're hiding something. They know that dot, 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 whatever it was. And that's where they were. And so what I love is how the conversation became a conversation, a dialogue. We began to just talk about ourselves and why things were kept a secret and why it was important for me to share with them. But I also began to see how me coming, not necessarily just coming out, but me owning my story allowed for other people in my family, immediate and extended, to begin to find their voice, to begin to find their ability to share more of them, to show up more authentically, more real. And so, because of that, I wanted to take a time. So, I'm about ready to head to the airport very quickly as soon as we're done with this video. And I'm going to head out. And but before I did that, I wanted to have a moment of going through and finding out from them and hearing it from somebody else on the receiving end of something, what impact me telling my story has had on you guys, and what you have seen for yourself. So first and foremost, let me just ask, has it had an impact on you?
Yeah.
How so?
You go?
Ladies first.
Oh, great. I don't know how to describe it. It's definitely had an impact, and one of the impacts is I feel like I can connect to him more. That's it's a very open relationship now where I just feel connection. We might not, even if we disagree on things or not, we know that we can trust each other and build a relationship upon that because of that trust.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's my biggest thing is the trust. We feel very connected and a lot more love. There's always love and there's always we can talk about anything, but now it's just on a more personal level.
I love it. Telling your story, owning your story, and being more authentic with people allows for a deeper level of trust. I know many of you are probably in the situation where trust is an issue because you've been violated at some point, you've been lied to at some point, somebody broke your trust. And so for many of us, trust is an issue. And by owning your authenticity, owning your truth, you are creating a deeper level of trust. That's dope. I like that.
Thank you.
Go for it.
So for me, again, we more bonded because I didn't pick up as much, but I had a suspicion. And when he told me, I also came out to him. So there was more of a connection there. And even after that, we started talking more. I went up there with him. I've pretty much always been inspired by him, but I was even more inspired after that.
I love that. You get to inspire people. Here's the thing. The people that you love the most, the people that really truly matter the most, the people that we live in our home are watching and being inspired or being uninspired by your actions, by how you're showing up, how you show up, how you live your life. Are you being in integrity are the words from your mouth matching what you're showing up and what you're doing in life? An old coach of mine used to say, is the tongue in your mouth and the tongue in your shoe going the same direction? You know what a tongue on your shoe is?
Yeah.
You know what that? Okay, got it. Going in the same direction. Are you in alignment? Are you in integrity with what you say and what you're doing? And the more that you begin to show up and the more that you begin to live your truth, you don't have to worry about filtering. You don't have to worry about making up a story. You don't have to worry about ... But you get to be real and you get to show up and you get to inspire the people around. I have watched these amazing, I want to say kids, but they're really not kids. They're almost young adults. Really stinks. I remember Samantha when she was born and she had a little bit of constipation.
Stop!
And we'll save that story for the wedding. It's a good story. Someday I'll tell you about it.
It's not.
I remember this one sitting in a pool eating. No, actually, it was the spaghetti. One of my favorite pictures of this one is when he was a little baby and he had spaghetti everywhere. And now I get to watch them begin to build their dreams. I've watched her go from fashion to now trying to find criminals and beat them up and put them in jail. And this one here, discovering everything from anime and characters to, hey, I want to go into marketing and branding to, hey, I want to create something. This one over here, it just runs the house. This is Kai Daniel. This is the other one. But here's the beautiful thing is that family gets to come along with you. One of the things that I am committed to doing in this journey as I begin to expand and grow more, because I understand that all of them are watching, and this one over here who's going to come up, nope, she's not. That was Dottie, are watching as well. And so I have to be in integrity with my word. I have to be living the life that I'm speaking. And yes, there are going to be times that things may not go the way that I plan or the way that I want, or it could be a really crappy day, but ultimately I have to show up. And I have to show up, one, for me first and foremost, but I also have to show up for all the other people that are watching. Because the people that are the closest to you are the people that are going to be impacted the most. So I don't know who it is that you need to tell your story to. And when we talk about telling your story or just owning your story, that's the first step, is truly understanding what's my story, how do I own it, and how do I own my truth? And then you begin to share your story. And when I share your story, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to step on a stage, you have to create a podcast, although they're great ways to communicate and get your message out. But it may be just sitting down and simply having a conversation with somebody that you love. And it may be somebody that you can start with in your own house, in your own home, in your own circle of friends, but begin to own your truth. So I want to challenge you today. What part of your story can you share with somebody around? Who can you share with? Who needs to hear your story? What what part of your story do you know that you need to get out there, that you need to practice? And listen, here's the thing. If you're like, Matt, I hear you talking about owning your story and all that other blah, blah, blah that you talk about, and I don't know even where to begin, then get on my calendar. Somewhere on this page is a button for you to go through. Actually, if you go to freedomwithstory.com, you're going to see that all of the videos that are part of these series are there with some notes, as well as some options for you to get onto my calendar to get into either our event coming up in March, the Do the Damn Thing Live, which will be in Las Vegas. And I want to invite you to be there. I want you to invite you to be a part of that experience in that moment and to get clarity on, what's my story? How do I tell my story in 3 sentences? Your whole life. Imagine your whole life story in 3 sentences. Right? It can be done. And so I want to invite you to join us for Do the Damn Thing, DTDT Live, and be a part of that if you like, or just let's talk, because there's freedom on the other side of you owning your story. So on behalf of
Samantha
and
Jacob
and
Hi.
see, you know what's cool? He wasn't even paying attention. He's on his video games like this, but he knows that he was next. So I want to say thank you. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining. Get connected. Let's talk. Bye, guys.